have never been able to sit still on this earth. Maybe it's the blood, American Indian, African, Mediterranean, all folded into one lineage that never let me claim just one story as mine. Maybe it's the years I spent in the Navy, learning early that the horizon is not a wall, it's an invitation. Whatever the cause, I have never understood people who are content to live and die within 20 miles of where they were born, never once asking what the rest of the world has to teach them. I have stood on the ramparts of Las Murallas at 2 in the morning, when the tourists have staggered home and the coral stone finally stops performing for anyone. I have watched the fishing boats leave Boca Grande before sunrise, the same way they've left for centuries, indifferent to whichever empire currently claims the water. And in that stillness, more than once, I have felt something I can only describe as recognition, not tourism, recognition. The recognition of a man standing in a room where a crime occurred and finally being quiet enough to hear the room tell him about it. This book started the way the last one did, as a comment I couldn't put back down. I had made my 20th trip to Cartagena, and somewhere around trip 12 I stopped being a visitor and became something closer to an auditor. Not because I decided to play the part, because the city insisted on it. You cannot walk past the same fortress 20 times, admire the same coral walls in 20 different lights, without eventually asking the only question that matters: who actually built this? And who has been collecting the credit for it ever since? That question did not stay a question. It became a discipline. What you are holding is the result of that discipline applied room by room to a city that has spent 400 years being described by everyone except the people who built it. I want to be clear about what this book is not. It is not a travel guide. It is not a takedown of Spain, of the Church, of Colombia, or of anyone else who shows up in these pages with a legacy more complicated than the postcard allows. Some of what these builders left behind, the roads, the plazas, the record keeping, the architecture that still shelters a living, breathing culture today, is infrastructure I have walked, slept under, and been grateful for on every one of my 20 visits. I am not ungrateful for the world that stands. I am simply asking that we get honest about who built which parts of it, credit the builder correctly, and stop letting the administrator collect a legacy he never earned with his own hands. This book is a forensic audit, not a demolition. Forensics does not burn the building down. It walks through what's already standing, room by room, and tells you the truth about what happened in each one. What you'll find in these pages is a distinction I believe changes everything once you actually see it. Built is not the same as credited. Formed is not the same verb as owned. The coral wall and the empire that claims it come from the same historical moment, but only one of them actually laid every stone. Cartagena draws this line on its own, in its own architecture. Block by block, I did not invent the distinction. I only got tired of watching people miss it. I wrote this book the way I've lived, moving, returning, refusing to accept the tour guide version of the story when the primary source was standing right there in the coral the whole time. I wrote it for the reader who has walked through a beautiful old city and felt somewhere in the back of their mind that something about the guided version doesn't quite add up, but never had the time, the language, or the permission to go looking for why. You have the permission now. I'm handing it to you the same way Cartagena handed it to me, through a question I couldn't leave alone, and 20 trips it took me to finally answer. Let those with ears hear. Let those with feet travel. Rondell L. Jordan, The Black Swan,